you had a change of mind originally. It was Harden. Then you went to Westbrook.
Right, because of the way he finished the season.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then please bring up the situation in regards to it might flip towards Harden again.
Yeah, I just, obviously this is a regular season award, the MVP. And, but, they don't give it till after the second round. So really, they're just going to be voting maybe after the first round of playoffs. So, my thought was, what if Harden's team does that much better in the playoffs versus the Thunder, and Harden has a good series? Even if Westbrook was to have great games, but if they swept the Thunder and Harden had a great series, would that still be enough to win the make people that were on the edge, or like me that flipped back? Right,
I totally see that. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I think no matter what, it should be permanent. But looking at the series, I mean, Harden had the best of Westbrook in game one. But to see what Westbrook was able to do just for the Thunder to be so close, like 51 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists, that's like insane. So either way, like if you want to take in account for the playoffs, then clearly you could see that if Westbrook was gone, the Thunder have no purpose being there whatsoever. Where it's just if you take out Harden, then maybe this is 8th seed. Maybe they barely make it. Like this is a team that could barely be competing with the Portland Trailblazers or the New Orleans Pelicans, anyone that was competing for the last 8 spot for the Western Conference.
Because I'm starting to think that this is one of those rare situations where you go, Russell, Jay brought up the point of how well he does in the playoffs. Back to Harden.
Right.
This is one of those rare situations.
And then I also looked it up because, like as Jay said, they normally announce it right after the second round or after the first round. So it's going to be in the second round. This year, they're going to have an all-award ceremony. So it's going to be in June. I think it's June 26th. So that's the first time they're going to announce the Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, MVP.
Oh, what? So it's post-championship.
Post-championship. So
wow.
Harden could leave a big impression if he's able to take the Rockets to probably Western Conference Finals.
Let me ask another question then. I mean, do you think, since they're doing this after, I don't know when the voting process is, but what about the LeBron argument? Assuming they get to the finals and maybe win the finals.
I think it's going to be a case of Jordan, Kobe, and Phil Jackson deserving Coach of the Year and MVPs. Yeah. They're going to go, you know what? You deserve it, but let's give some shine to some other folks. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
In regards to, I like that, but here's a problem. There's a conundrum. First of all, it's a regular season MVP.
Yes.
That's a big problem. Secondly, it's good because, one, you don't want someone to putz out after the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. Your MVP. Why are you putzing out? Yep.
So that's a big conundrum. I like having the MVP. I think they should give the regular season MVP right before the start of the first round.
I think that's too close to call.
Why?
Because with how many people are involved in the voting process, you're pretty much asking them to do it and submit it and then to count all the votes right before. And the season and the playoffs is just 4 days rest or so.
Yeah.
So it's just to get everything
rest or something like that. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think to your point, I think that's the way it is, right? So they start the voting after the season's done. After the last day of the season, put in your votes or whatever. I don't know how long they give them to vote, and then they tally, and then so second round they'll give it to the MVP. But to your point, man, the MVP is going to be sitting in the sidelines in the second round, not in the game. Don't you want to give it to a guy that's in the second round so that the crowd can cheer for him?
Sure. And then another factor is, what if that MVP candidate gets injured? What if it's not his fault because the rest of his teammates couldn't handle the pressure? Remember James Harden, when he made it to the finals, he was gone. He was a ghost.
Yeah.
So you were going to say something, Zach.
Dirk Nowitzki was the best example when he won the MVP. 07 when he won it, but then like it's just so funny because they gave him the award after he just got eliminated by the 8th-seeded Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And also, like, if you want to take account Derrick Rose when he got hurt, that was in the playoffs the same year he won the MVP in 2012. So it's just there's nothing much you could do at that point, I think.
So you say it's cool to do it on the 26th of June. You say...
I think you got to do it whenever the votes come in. So if it means the second round, then the second round or the first round, however you can get the votes in. However fast you can get the votes in, I guess.
Okay. So for me, I'd rather it be done right after the regular season. Because it's a regular season MVP.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
And it's supposed to... And usually it tallies that way, right? I mean, I can't think of an MVP that got it for the playoffs in a sense. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think of one, but I don't know. I mean, I think in that case, maybe Shaq would have gotten one of the Steve Nash ones.
The second one especially.
Yeah, because of his playoff impact. So maybe it is. Maybe I think the writers are pretty on point with that.
I'm starting to think, since we just brought this up, they need to change the format of the MVP. If it's going to be a finals MVP, fine. Obviously, you give the MVP whoever wins.
Yeah. Except Jerry West. Jerry West won the MVP in the losing
against
championships.
The Knicks.
Was it the Knicks or the Celtics? I think maybe one of those two. And he still won because he was just that much of a badass.
So you're cool post-finals. You're cool post-finals? Or no, first round?
First round or, as soon as possible. But, yeah, first round, I'm
okay,
cool.
So for me, it'll be right after the regular season, before the start of the playoffs.
So you got 3 days to vote.
Done.
Send it in.
Done. And the problem with my proposal, though, is what if you're just great during the regular season because you can't take pressure?
Yeah.
So my theory is really flawed, too.
But look at LeBron James. LeBron James has won multiple MVPs when, like, we still considered him as cracking under pressure when it came to, like, performing in the playoffs.
You mean the early MVPs? Not like his more recent ones.
Yeah, but, like, in Miami when he was winning, like, I want to say his second and third one, that's when, like, he was kind of sketchy in the finals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Because, in my opinion, LeBron wasn't really great LeBron until the second of the Miami one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first one was like establishing chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And you could literally see the page turn from Dwayne Wade as the man to LeBron became the man.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Miami from the two different championship eras.
And even the MVPs that he won in Cleveland, yes, he had a better stat, better shooting percentage, and he averaged as many points. But, I mean, I think a lot of the sentiment was that Kobe was the best player in the league. And he was the guy that was winning championships in 2000, that was going to the championship in 2008 and then through 2010. So it kind of was like, oh, who's the best player in basketball? It's Kobe. But who's the MVP? It's LeBron.
Right. And to your credit, by the way, it was just so funny to see them turning the page in that 2011 finals against the Dallas Mavericks, because would LeBron really get D'd up by Barea?
No.
I still to this day don't think that would have been possible.
Right. JJ Barea was a little dynamite, man. Do you guys catch that play where I think Blake Griffin set a screen and then he hit him right back?
Yeah.
But it's Blake Griffin, too. He crumbles.
That's true. I just thought he's a Puerto Rican with a switchblade in his basketball shorts kind of thing.
No, you got to give it to Barea, though. There is something about, like, smaller guys and, even Chris Paul. You'd think, like, a taller player could take advantage of him in the post. He actually has really good post defense. So
I think so.
Yeah. And so you just got to give it to those players that are hungry and they're small and they just know how to position. They don't back down, and that's just the kind of guy they are. Spitfires.
So in regards to MVP talk again, does an MVP like Malone and Barkley and Dirk Nowitzki, way less versus an MVP of a Kobe year or a Jordan year where he wins a ring? Or does it depend on the subjective player that you prefer?
That Barkley one is pretty, of the MVPs that they didn't give to Jordan, I think the Barkley one was probably the most legit one.
Sure.
Because, he just had a incredible year aside from the finals. He just had an incredible year.
4-2, right?
Yeah, 4-2. It was the run from the Olympics to the All-Star game to the regular season, and then he just ran into the Jordan.
What does 4-2 mean?
Oh, the record for the finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He went 4-2, which is, that's fair if you're going up against Jordan. I guess 4-2 is good at this point.
Well, that's the furthest anyone's gone.
Yeah.
At least he tried.
He's never went to a seventh game.
What are your thoughts, Zach?
Does it take away? I honestly look at it in the same page as I do with the Golden State last year when they won 73 wins. And they were just so close to winning that final championship that it's just like, well, nobody remembers them as the greatest team. We now still think of like Michael Jordan's 72 win season as the better team.
I think it's like a clean sweep. I agree with Jay that Barkley was just at his prime.
Yeah.
Granted, he had Dan Marley. Granted, he had Kevin Johnson. But that's the whole point where everything just is a combustible engine. Mm-hmm. So that was actually, I agree. In regards to the Steve Nash types, some of it is like gameplay adjustment. Like meaning, oh, this is the new era and look at him. It wasn't necessarily you're amazing. It's just like this is new and you happen to be the pioneer in this new era.
Yeah.
That's what I feel about Steve Nash's MVP. Jordan was just, I think Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, those are the three guys, in my opinion, they could have won 4 or 5 MVPs, in my opinion.
Well, Jordan won
3?
5.
5.
He won 5.
I think LeBron has 4.
Yeah.
Kobe
regular season
has 1.
MVPs?
Yeah.
Oh, I only counted LeBron having 3. Okay.
Kobe has 1, right?
Kobe only had 1.
See?
2008.
See, he's suffering from I have shitty teammates.
Yeah.
I thought he would have gone at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, agreed. And Shaq too. Shaq only has 1.
Agreed.
So of all the players, those guys are in there with 1 MVP with the likes of the Iversons and the Kevin Garnett's, I guess, Charles Barkley's, but they're way greater. These guys are way greater.
But you could even make a protest as to how Kobe should have won one of Steve Nash's. There's still that year that Laker fans want to defend and say, like, hey, Kobe deserved that 1 year.
He was definitely the most spectacular player of the year. And that was a shit team. So they went to the playoffs, almost beat the Suns.
Oh, like it was 3-1, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Suns team was stacked if you think about it. They were at least 8 deep.
Man.
Stoudemire, Barbosa,
Raja Bell, Tim Thomas. They were good.
Joe Johnson.
Yeah, and I think 1 or 2 seasons before that, they still had Eddie House.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking away from Steve Nash's
brilliance.
Yeah, I guess brilliance or his MVP. But I just feel like that was one of those, oh, this is the new era, so we must give him the MVP.
Yeah.
The We Believe Golden State Warriors were kind of making noise about this new no hand check, small ball, stretch 4 era, but Steve Nash really fortified it.
I also have a theory too where it's you give Steve Nash the MVP because damn, last year was the malice of the palace. You have to go as far away from that, and Steve Nash is as far away from the malice in the palace as you can get.